Welcome to Hot Topics on the Edge of Show. I'm January Jones, here with my co-host Josh Krieger.
Today, we're diving into Google's new Layer 1, Wyoming stablecoin, and Elon Musk is claiming antitrust against Apple and OpenAI. Lastly, we'll bring on our partners Jason and Zach Francis from Helm to talk about trust in AI.
And this episode is brought to you by Realm. Realm crafts insurance solutions that give businesses in dynamic industries like Web3, AI, alternative medicine, biotech, and the space economy the protection to innovate and thrive. Where emergent industries have previously battled uncertainty, Realm is making innovation resilient. A quick note, the views expressed by Edge of Company do not necessarily reflect those of Realm.
This is another production of the Edge of Company, a rapidly growing media ecosystem empowering the pioneers of Web3 tech, culture, and innovation. Let's get started.
Okay, well, Google Cloud is building a universal ledger, a layer one blockchain for banks and financial institutions. It uses Python for smart contracts, and it aims to be a neutral platform open to any institution and not tied to one company's payment system. Since this news broke yesterday, many crypto users are worrying about centralization, the monopoly by Google, and it could lead to censorship and less privacy, which goes against a lot of what blockchain has been about in the past. But it's moving fast. It's already working with big players like CME Group for tokenized assets, and it has a 2026 launch plan. So I think this is just the start of seeing traditional big tech making a push into the blockchain space and counting on their brand to attract traditional finance, go with someone you know. So do you think we're witnessing the birth of a whole new branch on our blockchain tree, Josh?
Yeah, I do think it signals something new is happening with corporate layer ones that are tailored for regulation, compliance, legacy finance scale. We just had Ease Protocol on the show, and we have another show with them coming up. And tech giants like Google are betting that their trusted brand and reach will allow finance to experiment with on-chain assets and workflows without the same volatility or perceived risk of crypto native solutions. So folks like Ripple, I guess, have some new competition. And I tried to do some background research on the differences between these two because I was just curious. And Ripple is focused on banks, payment providers, and remittance, but Google's actually looking at broad institutions and global banks. So their neutral sort of approach to not one payment system is interesting. I think there's definitely some questions on that, as you mentioned, like ultimately with great power comes great responsibility, and we've seen in the past that Google has sort of gotten into sort of contentious waters with various governments and within the technology sector for their dominance. They're just really good at what they do, and it's a little bit scary for folks from the crypto market that want to sort of ensure that there's a variety of choices in the market.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we set up these questions of like, is that really blockchain? But I think we have to kind of stop what we've thought of it in the past, right? Because this is going to be a new kind of layer one, right? It's not going to be the layer Ethereum ones that we've been used to in the past in this industry. And I think it's a little bit of a shakeup for the industry as a whole. While everyone's so excited about the mainstreaming of crypto, there's going to be these frictions that come along, and I think it's just going to be a bigger tent or a bigger tree with more branches, and this is kind of a different kind of blockchain, but maybe that distinction is only going to be made within the crypto industry, right? Because from your consumer standpoint, from your traditional business standpoint, they're still using blockchain as a service, right? And so there's not much difference outside of this industry to, I think, a lot of people who may onboard this.
For sure. What else are we talking about today?
Well, the other big news is a milestone in Wyoming. We can tip our digital hat to them and the Wild West. Wyoming just made history by launching the very first state issued stablecoin in the US. It's called the Frontier Stable Token. It's pegged 1 to 1 with the US dollar, backed by Reserve, and it's going to be running on 7 blockchains. As of this recording, it is not yet available, But Wyoming is the state to watch for crypto these days. They've passed over 45 pieces of blockchain legislation, and now they have this first public sector digital asset that could rival USDC and even PayPal's PYUSD. So, Josh, what do you think about this?
Well, it's thoughtful. It's interesting. The FRNT is fully reserved. It's over collateralized by 2%, and it runs on 7 top blockchains, and it's governed by the Wyoming Stable Token Commission. For Wyoming, this is a strong move in terms of positioning at the forefront of U.S. digital finance. It's sort of testing the waters of a more regulation-friendly environment. And there's another question when it comes to centralization. While more transparent than private stablecoins, it's overseen by a government commission, and I think that raises some legitimate questions around permissionless innovation and censorship resistance, which is sort of some of the benefits of stable coins in terms of allowing for transactions. We talked last week about being able to transact in the cannabis industry, and what happens when you mix stable coins with government oversight in this direct way. So I also wonder about DeFi and AML compliance. It's complicated, but I say kudos to Wyoming for taking a leap here. At the same time, I'm not sure it was the right leap.
Well, I think we're going to see other states try this too. Wyoming may be the first case, but it's going to come along. And yeah, I think it gets kind of murky because I was thinking about this and I was like, well, the administration's crypto policy now wants to make sure we can't even research central currencies, central bank digital currencies. This is different, but it's still kind of getting to that same territory. And if the federal government wants states to have more innovation and be doing these stable coins, they're going to have to let that work out. My thought is just, maybe it's naive, but it's like, how do you choose what stable coin to use, right? We're going to have more and more out there. And I guess from a public benefit perspective, Wyoming's is going to give a kickback to schools, right? And so maybe that's the upside of this. If we see more public stable coins, then we're going to see public benefit in those communities. And so that could be a reason to use their stable coin versus using something like PayPal.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, and I think if there's opportunities for states to generate more revenue, and that allows them to create a more attractive environment for businesses to come there to incorporate, if it reduces taxes, I think it's going to be hard for people to not want to support those types of environments in some shape or form. I think this is definitely a signal that we're on to a proliferation of stablecoins to come, and it's going to create a whole new industry around stablecoin infrastructure and stablecoin interoperability and multi stablecoin payment mechanism. So yeah, it's going to get interesting. It's going to get spicy.
I think it is. And then I think the next question is how are people going to be educated about this, right? Because you make the products, but then there's so much consumer education and literacy that has to come with these things for adoption. So hopefully we'll keep doing this, answering questions, and then we'll have more ways that people can, engage safely with crypto because stable coins, are kind of a way to get your toe in the water, right? Our next topic is about Elon Musk, and it might become an antitrust case against Apple and OpenAI. So Elon Musk has a startup, XAI, and he's suing Apple and OpenAI. The claim is that they've locked up the market and are shutting out competition, like XAI's own chatbot, Grok. According to Musk, the Apple Store is rigged, and ChatGPT's deep integration into Apple's ecosystem is stifling innovation. So he's going for billions in damages. And beyond the money, this case could force courts to define what the AI market is and really see the first antitrust case when we're talking about AI models. And it could set a major precedent. Josh, Musk has been a big figure, of course, in this space, and now he's taken on his biggest competitors. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, with Elon's capital, he's not sort of a small player to have to go toe to toe with, right? I'm sure Apple wasn't excited to get this news, and at the end of the day, this is a tech world turf war, and you've got the App Store and OpenAI, and the most visible consumer brand, Chat GPT. This is a monster combination of some of the leaders of what the economy looks like from here, and I think there's probably some folks that are excited to see competitive barriers, be reduced in ways that sort of position AI for a more free and democratic innovation cycle. We've already seen consolidation in the market, and in there's a lot of merit to decentralization of AI, and that trend certainly in how that intersects with blockchain. So I think this could actually create a healthy conversation here. It'll be interesting to see how politics play into all this, because inherently they will. I mean, we have some major lobbying powers here, and we know about Elon's sort of interesting history with the administration, and I'm curious if they back him, or if they don't back him on this move. But ultimately, he has a war chest, and he can take this fight to the ground for a long time.
Yeah, it's a battle of the titans, but it has a lot of implications for a lot of these smaller companies. AI is supposed to be democratizing a lot of things. People are talking about it in every industry, and to see how this shakes out gives a big signal to all the money going right into all these other AI businesses as it starts to proliferate into everything that we do now.
Yeah. I mean, look, Grok is a popular product for some folks. They really like it. It's now integrated into Tesla cars, the X platform, even wearables. So I'm all for folks trying all the different AI technology out there, and picking their favorites. And it's very easy, I'll say this, to just become committed to one product, right? If it's like right in front of you all the time, and it's the most accessible based on sort of integrations, you're more likely to use it. We've seen this with sort of Microsoft back in the day, right? And all the sort of integrations with the browser. So I think it is an important conversation to have, and I guess I'm happy that the conversation is happening sooner than later. So the next featured topic is from a partner of the Edge of Company, and it's so exciting to have Jason and Zach, the co-founders of Helm, on the show. These guys are tackling the biggest problem in AI today, which is trust. Great to have you guys on.
Thanks, Josh. Good to be here. Yeah, thanks for having us on, you guys. Appreciate it.
So the internet is being flooded with machine-generated content, but the real challenge for businesses isn't producing more, it's actually earning credibility. With trust now the deciding factor on who gets heard, a new platform is stepping in called Helm that Jason and Zach have built, and it's designed to fuse artificial intelligence with something algorithms can alone deliver, real proof. By drawing on customer reviews, case studies, and lived expertise, Helm helps companies scale their content while keeping authenticity at its core. Just as blockchain introduced transparency for finance, Helm is bringing transparency to marketing, turning reputation signals into growth and giving businesses a clear path to authority online. So, guys, that's really fascinating. I'd love if you could explain how you see Helm reshaping the way agencies and businesses compete in this noisy AI era.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you got it spot on that. There's just a lot of content that's being generated on the internet right now, and authenticity and trust, and being able to understand that you can truly trust what the content is a really big, important problem right now, and it's only going to get worse and worse as time goes on. So we're tackling that and trying to bring trust and bringing trust into everything that we're doing. So Helm is a new platform built for agencies and businesses to scale content without sacrificing trust and accountability. And we're doing that by infusing reputation management with content and everything that goes with AI marketing online. So, infusing whether that's capturing Google reviews and repurposing that into additional content and case studies, and then also just weaving in real live experience from our businesses that we're working with, the customers, into their content and everything. So, um,
So how do you see, the perception of trust by customers shifting over time, right? Because you got giants like Yelp and Google reviews that dominate trust, Amazon reviews. These are the three things that I think folks like myself check all the time. And this is I think they become the decisive sort of or de facto standards for trust. Do you see that continuing to occur? And what can small, medium, large businesses do to sort of leapfrog these particular platforms and directly sort of have that conversation with audiences and create trust?
Yeah, it's a good question, and you see it also in another area that we're tackling, which is showing up in the results for searching in AI tools, like whether that's a ChatGPT or Grok, like you mentioned earlier. So you look at what the references of those results are for AI tools that are answering your questions, and a lot of times they pull from things like you're saying, Google reviews. Reddit is a huge one. They're looking for real testimonies of people that have lived the experience that the inquiry is asking about. So that's where this really comes into play. And by infusing content, whether that's long form content on your blog or in reviews or case studies with real world experience from whether that's the founder of the business or their customers or their team members, that's where now you're not going to only see that showing up in Google search results, but also in the AI search results that is happening more and more every single day. People are going to Google, to other AI tools rather than Google to search. So it is a pretty important part that is showing up in the whole realm of search right now.
Yeah, we're really trying to wrap in together online reputation management with content and being able to do it at scale and in a way that's repurposing content and really bringing that trust and infusing the trust in. And I mean, people are turning to AI more and more than ever before. Like I was just talking to my friend the other day. He said he was in the store and he wanted to find the perfect fishing reel. And so he literally just jumped on ChatGPT, figured everything out on there, right there, and bought the exact, product that AI was telling him. And so people are actually doing a lot of their research through AI. And so being able to show up inside of the AI results is going to be huge for today, but also in the future. So we're trying to get a jump on that and get ahead of that wave that's really coming and build that trust and allow the AI tools to want to bring in and cite the specific businesses that are using, using this technique and infusing the real live use cases and reviews and everything inside of their content. And that also helps you get cited on other websites as well, because, let's say just somebody goes on a ChatGPT to, create more content and whatnot. It oftentimes will pull in, cite other use cases or case studies from other companies and so on. But if you're doing that with, if it oftentimes will pull from, case studies that have like statistics or actual real live use case studies and so on. And so being able to have those on your website helps get cited on other sites as well without even doing anything. So
That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I think about sort of trust in the context of the edge of company, and we've earned it through the content that we produce, the types of folks that we've had on, the types of events that we've produced, the results of those events. There's a lot of different sources. So I'm excited to have you guys as a partner and to be able to leverage these tools to sort of ensure that we're showing up properly in these AI search results. So excited to kick the tires of this new product that you're launching and look forward to seeing the results ourselves. Just one last point I wanted to touch on is Google's new EEAT framework. Google's coming up a lot today. This framework is about experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And clearly Google calls all the shots when it comes to search. So it sounds like you have made a conscious commitment here to leveraging this framework to maximize results for your businesses that you work with. Is that the case? And what are your thoughts on the framework?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's really the backbone of, what Google's algorithm chooses to show is like you said, the EEAT: experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And content alone, just generated through, any AI tool, doesn't have that, right? It's just kind of regurgitating a bunch of other content that's found online. So being able to fuse that in, like we talked with you, Josh, about being able to take the expertise, you as a founder and as just a very deeply studied guy in the blockchain AI tech space, and be able to pour all that information into our platform Helm, and then let our AI basically pull from that and use that expertise, use that real world knowledge that you have, and infuse that into the content. And it does a lot of things, right? It not only signals to Google that you're an authority and the content actually has helpful content, but it actually is really helpful to the users that are finding these articles and this content online when they're searching for an answer to a question they have. So it solves both problems there.
Well, cool. If folks want to try out Helm, where should they go?
Yeah, helmseo.com. That's the website there, and they can sign up and get started right away.
That's HELMSEO.com. Well,
Right.
sounds good. Thanks, guys, so much, and best of luck with your launch.
Yeah, thanks, Josh and January. Appreciate it, you guys. Definitely a pleasure being on here with you guys today.
Thanks, guys.
That wraps up today's episode of Hot Topics. We covered Google's new Layer 1, Wyoming stablecoin, Elon Musk claiming antitrust against Apple and OpenAI, and Helm's new product.
Thanks for joining us as we navigate the latest and greatest in Web3 and AI. I'm Josh here with January, and our special guests today, Zach and Jason Francis from Helm. Stay curious, keep pushing boundaries, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss what's next on the Edge of Show.